There's a lot of unknown variables in the world of Deepwoken, and for many of the players that first join the game, the first thing they'll question are the damn floating symbols in the sky. The world of Deepwoken knows no sun, knows no moon. Instead, they live under the Moonseye and the Sun Cross. Now, they're of course named after both the sun and the moon, so what's the big deal? Well, these aren't just floating masses in the sky, they're alive. They serve a divine purpose, and although they're simply distant symbols to us, this purpose makes them valuable. And if they're valuable, they're ours to dissect. Thus, today we tear apart the mystique surrounding the Moonseye and its celestial masters. That's right, the Celestials, the former gods of this world, rear their ugly heads once more. Their influence extends much farther than you thought, and today we're going to put that in stone. Subscribe, like the video, become a channel member, pay me money, all that jazz, you know the drill, and maybe you're sick of it like I am. So let's cut the bullshit and get down to business. The Moonseye is ours to conquer. Now, for all my newly recruited loreheads out there, I'm sure you're attempting to push past the gatekeeper that is the sheer volume of information out about this game. One easy way that I'm sure many of you have got around this is by checking the Deepwoken wiki page simply titled Lore. Really inspirational, guys. It's got a variety of mostly accurate lore on everything in the game, from the Lord Regent to the Star Kindred to the Moon's... oh, there's nothing. Neither the Moonseye nor the Sun Cross have anything concrete in them that's shoveled to the average lore enjoyer, and that's why I think they're so under-discussed in the community. However, we know from other sources in-game that the Moonseye and the Sun Cross are essential to Deepwoken's lore, potentially even more so than I'm making it sound. How, you may ask? Well, let's start with the Moonseye, which is far more prevalent in discussion. We'll touch on the Sun Cross in a different video, but just to warn you in advance, the bloody thing's borderline invisible. The Moonseye. The Moonseye isn't simply a symbol floating in the sky, it's a palpable physical mass. You may not be able to simply reach up and touch it, but it is reachable. That's right, you can reach the Moonseye. How, you ask? Die. Yeah, just die. If you watch the 50-minute epic video I made recently concerning the Chrysids and the Lullaby Isles, you may remember that the Chrysids upon the Isles believe in a religion called the Moonlit Faith. In essence, they believe that upon your death, your soul is carried up into the Moonseye, where you dwell for the rest of time. Now, although my video made it out like these Chrysids were crazy, a broken clock is right twice a day. Relax, put down those pitchforks. I know that this is contradicting everything I've said previously about the depths claiming your soul and shattering it once you die down there. That's Deepwoken's Afterlife, not the Moonseye, right? Well, both can be true, or at one point both were true. The depths may be the resting place of your soul as of right now, but what about before the seas rose, before the cataclysm? It's my belief that the Moonseye was essentially functioning as the afterlife before the depths got a stranglehold on Lumen. I do believe that it actually contains souls of the deceased. However, the depths weighs heavy on the soul and now drags lost souls downwards rather than letting them float up into the Moonseye. Okay, all of this is well and good, but how do I know this? I mean, it all seems like an assumption, right? Not in the slightest. The days of unfounded bullshit gracing this channel are long gone, my friends. May I introduce you to the Celestials? Yay! I'm sure you're intimately familiar, considering I'm approaching half a dozen videos on them. Where did that tie into this? Well, if you were around in the community a year ago, yes, it's been that long, you'd know about an obscure island you'll find floating in the Void Sea if you sail far enough. It's called the Moonseye. The Moonseye. Yes, it's all about the damn Moonseye. In fact, it's the symbol at the center of the island, and it's beaming light straight into the sky. I'll get back to that in a second though. What's most important is what's beneath the surface of this island. If you enter the bowels of the Moonseye through a door on the cliffside, you'll come face to face with a Moon Knight, a variation of the Sand Knight, which coincidentally spawned from... I'm getting ahead of myself. Regardless, this Moonseye enemy, Moon Knight, drops a variety of Moonseye-themed weapons, and one of these weapons blows the whole Moonseye case wide open. Stand to attention, we're talking about the Soul Thorn. Swirling within, the core of this blade is said to have been siphoned from the Moonseye by a celestial traveler on their voyage across the skies. Its edge transmits a cutting anguish upon its foe, carving spiritual wounds. Its previous wielder, once known as the Moonlit Prince, is said to have been driven to madness by the voices trapped within. Holding it, you can hear it whispering directly into your mind. The voices within lament their twisted fate, stolen away from their heavenly vault to ultimately meet the same fate as the drowned. Well, I was thinking I'd have to explain it, but this description really does just spoil the whole thing. You can toss the whole spiel in the middle aside, couldn't give a rat's ass about the moonlit prince, just focus on the first and last line here. We now know that the moon's eyrie is, unsurprisingly, the creation of celestials. Even if you disregard this opinion as mere rumor, I'd state that the existence of the Moon Knight proves that the eyrie was created by celestials beyond a shadow of a doubt. Remember that the original Sand Knight spawned by crashing down within meteors sent from, you guessed it, the heavens, the home of the celestials. The eyrie is clearly their work, but it's the last line of the Soulthorn's description that puts this whole thing in a new perspective. The voices within lament their twisted fate, stolen away from their heavenly vault to ultimately meet the same fate as the drowned. This line is more important than you could possibly imagine. Despite popular belief, I don't believe that the heavenly vault this line is referring to is the eyrie. No, I think it's the Moonseye itself. For you see, these are souls taken straight from the Moonseye, leftovers from before the depths arrived and took over the Afterlife. They've been plucked out of the Moonseye and forged into twisted weapons, eternally squirming inside the hand of another. How do I know this? Well, harken back to what I said about the center of the island earlier. At the center of the moon's eyrie, there's a symbol of the Moonseye that directly beams up into the sky. We are watching the transfer of souls before our very eyes. Celestials are stealing human souls from the Moonseye and using them to craft weapons. These weapons are then stored in the moon's eyrie and protected by the Moon Knights. The worst part? The eyrie is completely abandoned and is hidden in the middle of the fucking Void Sea. Goes to show you how much the Celestials care about humanity. I'd estimate it's less than 0. So, to sum up what we now know about the Moonseye, it was originally the afterlife for souls before the depths rose up, which explains why the Chrysalids worship it so fervently. However, the souls left in the Moonseye are being siphoned by the Celestials into powerful weapons made of human souls. The afterlife in the Moonseye isn't heaven, it's purgatory all the same as your fate in the depths, or at least that's how it is now, that the Celestials are plucking souls right out of it. I mean, at this point, dying just fucking sucks, doesn't it? Nowadays, you get your soul disintegrated falling through layers or the depths, and even if you were lucky enough to have your soul float up to the Moonseye way back when, you're now being turned into weapons by the Celestials for the rest of time. What a fantastic way to go. This isn't even including the Moonseye Tome, the infamous book that gives the player 99 knowledge upon its usage. Perhaps the Moonseye is much more than a simple afterlife for souls. Perhaps it's the source of some undecipherable knowledge, an eldritch horror. I'll let the Moonseye Tome's description speak for itself. A scrawled and raving account of the prophetic dream received by the prophet Pariah of the Lullaby Isles, the short-lived leader of a lunar cult, who voyaged into the Void Sea in the hopes of finding a stairway to the heavens. Though indecipherable, the tome seems to contain more pages than allowed by its size. All copies of the original volume were burnt, but even hundreds of years after its author's demise, new volumes spontaneously appear in libraries and chapels across the central luminant. They are swiftly burnt and all records are expunged. So, the Moonseye is where souls are held in the afterlife, and if you sail into the Void Sea in an effort to reach it, you go insane. There's so much mystique surrounding this thing, and considering it's tied directly to the Celestials, it's pretty clear that there's much more going on here than we possibly think. I also think that the Moonseye makes it pretty clear that the Celestials couldn't care less about humanity. In fact, they may be directly contributing to our suffering. One thing's clear. Don't trust the Celestials, and definitely don't trust the floating symbol in the sky. Sun-cross theory soon. Be well. Remember that God loves you. I'm done here.